Hello coders, good morning, good morning, good morning. I've just realised the light there isn't on. Bear with me just a second. It is now. Hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's doing good this morning. Today, what I'm going to be doing is working a little bit on that course that I was dealing with last time. I got a little bit too involved with the mechanics of the thing, and I got very sort of like invested in the looping of stuff. What I want to do is take a step back today and just plan it a little bit more and make it a little bit more organized. Because I was thinking after that stream, geez, this is going to be a massive course and I need to rein it back. So that's what we're going to do today, I think. Let me just sort the camera out. Thank you ever so much for joining. Hello, Tyrannid and Liquid Oxygen. Oh, thank you very much for staying up, Liquid Oxygen. I hope you're not too knackered. Thank you. Yeah, so we're going to do a little bit of planning today. A little bit of planning. Let's get over to this view. This is the CSV importer course, and really it's not an importer course because we're doing an import and an export. So yeah, it's a little bit more than that, isn't it? A little bit more than just an import. Plus we deal with Docker, plus we deal with the actual console stuff. So what I'm going to do is, here is the README, and this is just the installation. I think what I'm going to do here is create a table of contents. So we're going to have, say, oops, install. We're going to have a word that I can never spell, and that's prerequisites. I can never spell that word. Let me see if I can just hunt it down. Prerequisites. So like prior knowledge of, there we go, prerequisite. Prerequisites. We should do prerequisites above here. And we're also going to have requirements, like system requirements. Then we're going to have the actual installation process. Well, no, before we have the installation process, we're going to have course structure. That's what we're going to work on today, structure. And we're going to start with, so tutorial 1, or let's do 0, and then intro, introduction, intro. Number 2 is going to be something like it's going to be 1, and then install process, and then number 2 is going to be like once we've installed it, so that's install process Docker. Whoops. So first up, I'll do an introduction video, then I'll do the install process video. So this is how you do it, and I'll go through the README. And we'll also go through the Docker compose file. So what I usually do here is I will have a new file, so file new, and go something like docker.yaml blah blah blah, and then I will have this in a split view, and I'll have the new stuff on this side. We'll get rid of this. And I will be talking through each point of these things on here as we build. Whoops. So yeah. And then I guess I'm going to have to talk about Composer as well, right? Because when we do the install, we do the machine, which is optional. Docker Compose up, I'm going to have to talk about that. Docker Compose install, which reads the Composer install process. Run the migration scripts. I think we're going to drop the data fixtures. I don't think there's any need for that. I would have to explain what a data fixture is. So I think this is the whole point of today. I'm sort of trying to rein it back. I'm trying to go, nope, too much for a single course. If I think about what the mission of this course is, it's to teach using CSVs in PHP and also using the Symfony console. They are kind of the two main areas I want to focus on in this course. So off with the fixtures, and then I can get rid of those as well. Okay, so we're going to, instead of import the products, we're going to create the products. Create the product CSV. So that's redundant. All of that can go. Yeah. So not a complete start again, but it's going to be a sort of a more of a sort of a refined approach. So introduction and then install, which is all of that. And then the next one is going to be sort of 2. After you've installed it, I need to explain the actual how to build. I suppose I need to explain how to build the entities, right? That's probably the next thing, and I can do that through the Maker bundle. So that would be that. So we would go Symfony Maker. So creating PHP entities using Symfony Maker. Okay, so that's an explanation of how to do that. That's one tutorial. And then once we've got that, I guess what we should do is on the third tutorial, once we've got that, what else do we need to do? We don't need to worry about the repositories, I don't think. Because I don't think we need to worry about that. Is it time to go for the commands? I kind of need to take this into a different approach. I need to kind of explain what a command is in Symfony, and also how to use things like the Symfony styling, inputs and outputs, and the configuration, also the app options and arguments. There we go. Hey, thank you for following Dota 2 Attitude. Thank you. Hey, all well. Thank you very much. Yeah, going well. It's I'm almost awake. It is 7:10, 10 minutes past 7 in the morning. So I'm almost there. I've had a cup of tea. How are you doing? I hope you're well. Hope you're doing good. 3 a.m. where you are. Wow. Yeah, aren't we crazy sleepers? Glad you're doing well. So what I'm doing today is I'm and this is kind of more for my benefit to try and refresh my mind. What I'm doing today is I'm going through the course that we kind of created the last stream, but refining it a little bit more, making it a little bit more tighter. Going through the actual tutorials themselves and listing them out. Maybe these are going to be the tutorial titles. I don't know yet. I'm not sure. But last stream we went really crazy because we went into because this course is supposed to be around creating and importing CSVs in PHP using the Symfony console. It's Dockerized as well. And we got into a little bit of trickery last time because I was trying to batch things up in faster, and I was also trying to create products that already existed, so I'd have to update them and all of this crazy stuff. And I think today I just need to rein it back in again. Otherwise this will be one of those projects that just never happens. I have so many of those, it's unreal. And all of these are going to be single tutorial videos, and a tutorial video would be like one per day, I suppose, on YouTube. So I need to think about that, keep an eye on that as well. Okay, so the first one is an introduction, so what it is that we're doing. That's usually a 5-minute video. The installation process, which is Docker, is obviously going to be much longer. Essentially, I'm going to go through the whole Docker Compose file, and the Docker file. Let's not forget the Docker file. So that's what I'll be doing on there. Does there need to be anything else after that? Once we've got the setup, I guess we need to actually split this out, I think. First up, we need to create it, and then, or maybe I can do this in 2 videos. I'm just thinking, like, the first video is going to be Docker Compose, so all of this. So just like a recap of what is an image versus what is a build context. Container names, depending on all that jazz. As well as the Docker file. So that's quite a chunk. That in itself is a chunk. And then we run through these scripts. I might be able to do it in one hit. It's just going to be a long video. Then here we create the entities using the Maker, Symfony Maker. That's actually going to be a relatively smaller video, I think, because it's more dialed into a specific thing. And then on the third one, once we've got those, we don't have to worry about controllers. I guess it would be a case of going into here. Actually, once we've created the entities, the migrations file is going to be empty. So I'm going to have to bring this up and say 3. This is going to be migrating. Nah, we'll put that in there. So creating a PHP entities using Maker and migrating database. Maybe I should do this in a separate one, actually. Migrating the database. Updating the database. Updating the database schema. All right. Via migrations. Docker Compose, Docker files, and that elusive shell should be covered for Docker. Yeah. So Symfony is the framework. Composer is the package management, right? Manager. So yeah, as I go through this, I also have to sort of think about like the prerequisites, which I've kind of created up here, of prior knowledge, right? So I can't go through everything because the course would just be ginormous and it would have no definition. So I can't say like this is a composer and this is how you use it. So I guess one of the prerequisites here is to have knowledge of composer, right? And then I guess we could have basic knowledge, whatever that means, basic knowledge of Symfony. So this shouldn't really be your first ever Symfony rodeo. And I guess what we can do up here as well is just define bullet points of learning outcomes. So learning outcomes here would be things like Docker Compose configuration, Docker File creation, Docker Compose configuration, Docker Compose commands, and the commands would be up -d. What else have we got? Up to -d, and we got the exe scripts. exec. Docker file creation. Yep. Okay, so that is just for Docker. So then after this, we have Symphony Maker for the entities. We have what else do we do? Doctrine Migrations. That's migrations. So we haven't even got to the core parts of this course yet. So we're just still playing around with the stuff around it. So Doctrine Migrations. So that's when we create the migrations file. So I would be doing a migrations diff, and then it would come up with this schema, and then we would do migrations migrate. But then I can show you the migration status of that as well. Yeah. Okay. So once we've got to here. Yeah, I guess there is. Yeah, I guess there would be a little bit of similarity. You know, in terms of the sense of, you know, there's an ORM, there's a MVC, there's all of the other things involved with frameworks that are shared across the board. Yeah. After the course structure, after the migrations, where do I go with this? I guess we create a command, right? So so this would be Symfony console command. I don't know why I'm capitalizing everything. And this is going to be a chunky one, because there's a lot involved here. There is things like, if I was to look at, well, first of all, it would be Symphony Maker entities and command, because we'll be making the command through the maker. Then we would have Symphony command inputs, Symphony command outputs. We would have Symphony command progress bar. Yeah, because like this is now starting to get massive. We haven't even dealt with the migration, with the actual CSV stuff. So here we would have like, and the configuration. Let's not forget that one. That's quite a large one too. Whoopsie, Symfony command configuration, and that would be things like options, arguments, and help. Oh, that's a shame. I sorry to hear that. I hope it wasn't. I hope it wasn't really bad. That's not a nice thing to hear. It's not what you want to watch, is it? Not what you other streamers acting and behaving in a horrible way. Okay, so learning outcomes: Docker Compose configuration, Compose commands, Docker file creation, which kind of needs to go above, to be honest. If we're doing this in order of things, Symphony Maker we're going to make the entities and the commands, which I'll obviously do down here. Then Doctrine Migrations based on the entities that we've created, or the entity that we created. Symfony configuration, options, arguments, inputs, outputs, and progress bar. I mean, these can actually be separate videos because they're so chunky. I mean, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should look upon this as this is now getting into the core of this. So these things we can kind of, I wouldn't say skirt over, but these things we can cover, but not in as greater depth as the core part of the course, which is this. So maybe I should have, on tutorial 4, we would add Symfony console configuration. And we could call it, like, if these were the titles, we could say how to configure a Symfony console command. And in fact, we could do, first up, as one tutorial, we could do how to create a Symfony call, and then how to configure it, and then so that would be 5. Then this one here would be something along the lines of handling inputs, handling Symfony Symfony console inputs. And then number 7, handling Symfony console outputs. Okay. Oh, that's a shame. No, that's gatekeeping, man. Nah, that's gatekeeping. I that's awful. No. Go over MVC. Yeah, bear with me a minute. God. Yeah, and a good question about Docker too. MVC is Model View Controller. So what you would do, sorry, I just saw a spelling mistake. Outputs. Right, so a model, MVC, Model View Controller, it's where you divide the code in between sort of a series of sections or flows within the application. The view being the output, the thing that you're actually displaying to the page, and you're encapsulating the view, just the view and how it is there. Sorry, I've only had one cup of tea today. The model is the handling the data, right? How the data is perhaps validated, how the data hangs together. So this would also be not closely coupled, but this would be connected, I guess, to the ORM, which is the Object Relational Manager. So this would probably be Doctrine or something like that. So how the data maps to the database or the data store. And then the controller deals with the business logic in the sense of how that data gets processed, how a form gets submitted and handled, and then it creates a response that goes back to the view, which means that now you're separating and you're encapsulating logic into various different things. So your view doesn't have to worry about the connections to the database, right? Because that's handled in the model. the model doesn't have to worry about how the form is being handled, because that's handled in the controller. So you split that out. I guess what I could do actually is show you an example, because I think I've butchered that. I've absolutely butchered. Let me show you an example. Let me load up another project demo. So this is the API. This is an API that I've been building on Twitch, and it's in Symfony. Is this the right? API, system API. And in the src folder, we've got some controllers in here. We've also got in the views, in the templates, we have a bunch of templates. And the templates for this specific project is a CMS. So, for example, in the list of courses, because this is a CMS about how to code well, and the course is there. If I opened up index, this is the index. So it's very sort of HTML heavy because it's the view, right? Because this is the output. And what we're doing is we're providing data to the view, and the view renders that out. So here we have an array of courses, so 4 course in courses. So a table row is displayed for each course, right? So this has no knowledge and has absolutely no concern as to where this data is coming from. All it's doing is saying, I want the courses, and then I'm going to loop them out. All right. So that's the view. That's the rendering of that. And then in the controller, let's see if we can get the corresponding controller. That would be useful. So the CMS Course Controller, for instance, I think I was playing with the index here. So what we do, this controller, or this controller method, I should say, this is the view, and then this is the courses that we provide. This is the data it provides. The controller, this controller method, has knowledge as to how the data is retrieved. So for instance, we're calling upon course repository, and this is the find by. So this is a method against the repository of the course, which has connections to the database, and we're supplying some arguments as to the order of these things, so updated and creation date. And then this is running that query and returning the actual courses back. So the view doesn't have any knowledge of this. All the view knows is that there's going to be some courses supplied to that. Okay, so now let's take a look at the repository. So with the controllers, of course, you can use dependency injection to inject other services, such as this one, for instance, to then work upon other things. The whole idea is having thin controllers. So with the find by, what this is doing is, I guess, no, it would run off of the service entity. So this, it would find the courses, but the courses themselves are held in the model. So the model here would be in the entities, which if I can find here, and then have a look at the course themselves. So this is the model. This is the entity that represents the course record in the database. So for instance, we've got the connections to other tables, so foreign keys are here. We've also got in the model itself rules for validation. So this one, for instance, needs to have a minimum length of 4 and a maximum length of 100. These are the titles for validation as well, and other things. So this is how you can constrain and constrict the entity values of what they can be. This is all done in the model, and of course, and I know I keep going back to the view has absolutely no knowledge of this. It doesn't need to. All the view does is it just renders this out. And yeah, I mean, the idea of having it like this is that you can change the view. You can go, okay, perhaps the view isn't going to be HTML. Maybe the view is going to be an email. Maybe the view is going to be a PDF download. Maybe it could be anything completely different, that kind of stuff. Excuse me. The model could change as well. Maybe we want to validate it slightly differently. So apply different validation rules in here. And then the business logic would be held up in the controller as to, I guess that controller wasn't a good example. When I keep saying business logic, there's also business logic, of course, in the model, because the model has the validation rules. It knows how things are hanging together. It knows the integrity of the data. But for example, another example, I suppose, probably a better one actually, is around the APIs. So with the API in, where are we? Abstract. Let me think. Here we go. So this one here. This is how one would say, I don't know, register, right? So registration. So this is taking a form. The method is post, and it registers a user. So with this controller, what we're doing is a little bit more logic than just, finding courses and rendering them back. We're actually validating and decoding the request, validating that the request was okay. We're then making entities. So this is, connecting to the model and creating those, that user. It's then getting a selected package. This is doing all sorts of stuff, setting subscriptions. So this would be your business stuff. And then we're attempting a login and then returning that back. So yeah, there's to do this all in one sort of monolith. And I've worked on code where it's all done in one file. The whole fetching, viewing and controlling and validating is a nightmare. So MVC is a great way to split that out. Sorry, I went on a bit of a random tangent then, didn't I? Let me I have to go back through the comments. Okay, so questions about Docker. So let's come out of this Mo. There we go. Go back to the course. Yeah, I would. Oh, I just read Tyranid's comment. He would Dockerize his tea making process if he could. I would. What I would do, and what I would do is I would create a Raspberry Pi. I'd put a Docker image on that Raspberry Pi to tell me when the tea is ready, like the temperature and everything like that. Yeah, I would definitely do that. Thank you for following Net Cole Hockey. Thank you for following. I do appreciate it. You set the emotes off. Brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, well, so I use Docker to split out my projects. I'm a freelance developer, and a lot of my projects, most of them actually, are Dockerized, even if they aren't Docker in production. A lot of the projects that I'm working on at the moment are Docker in production, but anyway. And it's a way for me to sort of split out and make sure that my local development environment isn't interfering with other projects. So for instance, there are certain projects that I've got where I have to manipulate the PHP ini file, and I don't want that to bleed into other projects, and I don't want the configuration to merge and drift, and testing, you've made a great point there, testing and deployment. Yeah. Yes, that's a very good point, Dota. It is slower for development because there is something else to deal with, something else to learn. Yeah, definitely agree with that. For the CSS, which project is this? Well, the other project I was doing using Tailwind. Oh, I see. Sorry. Yes, it does take time to compile. However, once it's cached, once the layers are cached, because for instance here, if we did docker ps-a, let's take a look at the images. So Docker history of, say, this one. So this is the actual console thing. These are, sorry, That's the container ID. Beg your pardon. I should be doing. I could do it by image name. Let's just say Docker images, Docker history of, say, this image. So these are the image layers, and these get cached, right? So once the layers are built, they get stored on the system, and so excuse me. And so whenever a change is done, if it doesn't affect the layers beforehand, then those layers beforehand will be used. So it's slow to start, and then it speeds up, depending, of course, how you've laid out your Docker file. So, for example, if I was to change something up here, let's say, for instance, some crazy reason I wanted to go to 7.2 rather than 7.4, it would rebuild this layer, it would then rebuild this layer, and then it would rebuild that layer, and then it would run that layer. So however, if I was to change something in here, like maybe I wanted to install something else, this layer won't change, so we're still going to use it from here. That layer will change, this layer will change, and so will that one. If I change something in here, like if I change something in the actual file structure, these won't change. So that's how, excuse me. So yeah, I mean, it really depends on how you lay this all out. And of course, what you throw into your Docker ignore file as well, because you don't want to be pushing up all the crazy stuff together. Yeah. Right. So let me swing back to this MO. So Docker file creation, all of this jazz, and then we got Symfony commands and the progress bar. So I guess what I would do is probably pick on the creator first. So I would configure it and say, this is how you write a description, yada yada yada, and then we would build one out for the for this, and have this is how you create an option. Yeah, I'm just kind of going in my head as to how this would work. That would be the output. This would be the progress bars. Okay. Cool. I guess after this, what we would do is go through the actual making of the thing. So I guess the first thing is how to create a CSV file, and then the next one, it would be how to import data from a CSV file, from the created CSV file. And I guess that really wraps that up, really. Actually, I've put this in the wrong thing, haven't I? That should go down here. That really kind of wraps that up, really. So that would be 7, 8, 9 tutorials. So the learning outcomes here would be creating CSVs and then reading CSV. Yeah. All right. So, I mean, that's quite a large chunk of stuff. A large chunk of stuff. There's like an argument about deploying an image per deployment, to pushing an image per deployment, and that's if you want to have all of your stuff in the image rather than inject things in. I've got various projects that do both, like for instance building the image without the actual code inside, And so all the image is like a container that you inject the code into. It means that your deployment has to then cope with the fact that the image could change and the code of the application could change as well. Whereas the other flip side is to build everything in a single image and just push that image and tag it every time a code change happens. Trouble with that is that you're creating endless amounts of images. For every little change, there is a whole image, which means that everything is rebuilt. Well, not everything, but because of the layers and everything. But it just gets huge. Like, for instance, if I was to change a README file, then I would have to tag that as an image, that kind of stuff. But then the argument for that, of course, is that everything is there. You don't have to do any other steps. You just run that image, and it's off to the races. It's a little bit more. It's more repeatable in that sense. There's no other things to do. I haven't really found a proper argument against one or another. So, for example, like with this, we are we've got a bind mount between the current working directory and then the app directory, and also whereas in production, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Maybe I should just be copying them into the Docker file and then releasing a new Docker file every time. But then saying that in production, I wouldn't have Composer running. And I wouldn't have any of this stuff. I mean, we talked about all of this when we were doing it with the other project. But yeah, there's still an argument to say that production should have these things, perhaps, possibly. I mean, it really depends on the project, I guess. Anyway, I'm sidetracking again, aren't I? What's the time? 7:44. Okay, that's no probs. I'm gonna now build this, I guess, and go through what we've already got. So, Composer up D, and then okay, let's do that. Do all those things. Docker compose up -D. Okay, let's just make sure that still runs. I'm sure it does. The migration is something that I'm going to be teaching rather than showing, so I suppose I should start to excuse me, I should create these as tutorials underneath. We should do this sort of up here. So, install process. So this is 1, which would be here, which would be there. There we go. So that's number 1. Can I link that to? I think I can do it like is it install process? There we go. So now I've created an anchor link between the two. So underneath here we're going to have the other one, which is, am I doing it I should do it too deep. There we go. So then that next one is creating PHP entities using the Symfony Maker bundle. That's 1, 2, 3, and we're going to put in command, which I can never remember. It is Docker console. Let's get into the bash of this, and then let's do bin console maker. I can't remember what we're trying to. It's the entities, isn't it? So we have, here we go, entity, like that. Nope, that's not it. No, I'm not even. It's not make. It's not maker. It's make. There we go. All right. So let's come out of that. That was that command. So I want to run this outside of the container. So we're going to, whoops, let's come out of that. Let's exit the container. Hey, Murphy. Oh, off you go, you wet dog. Murphy just popped in to say hello. So he just runs around, headbutts things like the doors and stuff, even though the doors are shut. He's like, oh, I can go in here. What was I doing? I was running this in... I wanted to run this from here, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Okay, cool. So this is going to be the command that we run. So that is going to be down in here. Okay, so that's number 2, I think. Is that right? So that's 1, and that's 2. Cool. Number 3, let's link that back up as well. It is creating Product CSV. No, that's wrong. It should be 2, shouldn't it? There we go. Okay, so the idea is when you get this course, you'll get the README, and then you'll be able to go, oh yeah, this is what you did in this at this point, you know. Updating the database via the migration. So once we've got this, we need to do a couple of things, right? So once we've created the entities, we need to where is this? I'm gonna call this now, actually. I'm gonna call this tutorials, actually. So let's bring this. No. Come on. Tutorials. So instead of course structure, we're going to call this tutorials, and we'll link that to the tutorials as well. And also what I'll do here is put links to the actual videos as well. That makes sense. So we're going to have the intro, so 0 intro, introduction. I'm going to write a little message to do, add video, and we'll do the same here after add video on here, add video there as well. Yeah, I use PHP Storm. I used to use NetBeans. I used to use Sublime. I used to use Eclipse, and then I used to use Dreamweaver, and then I used before that so I'm going backwards, not forwards, obviously. So it was PHP Storm. Before PHP Storm, there was NetBeans, and I was jumping between NetBeans and Sublime Text. I couldn't get Sublime Text to do what I wanted it to do. I also gave Vim a go, because you can use Vim if you wanted to as an IDE. if you had time, which I didn't. And then after that, or before that, I should say, I used Eclipse, and then before that I used Dreamweaver, and then before that I used Notepad. I think in between there I also used Atom as well. I didn't get on with that. Yeah, you can connect to, there's all sorts of nice little weird and wonderful plugins for PHP Storm. I prefer just getting into the terminal, to be honest. And the reason why I do it in a separate thing is because I prefer all of the screens. So for instance, I can do all of this kind of crazy stuff. I'm using Z shell and iTerm. Okay. Okay, so we're installing, we do the install process, and then after that we do the creating of the PHP entities, which is that command. Then we update the database schemas, and I need to put in the command for that. So first up, we want to, let me just run console for a minute. We want to run migrations diff. Well, first up, I guess I should show you the status. That would be the first thing. So I would do status, then I would do, yeah. It's not the current. So diff is what we would use to get the diff. Migration is what we would use to get the migrations. And then list. Here we go, migration status. It was just, I just got thrown by that gap. I was trying to look for that. So here we would do that command. And it would list the status. So I will put that into here. And then after this, I would demonstrate the diff command under here, which is migrations diff. Let me make sure I can run that. So this would be to generate migrations based on changes, and then after that we would run the migrate. That'll hopefully tell me nothing can be migrated if we hit hang on, if we hit yes, what's going to go there? Already at the latest version. That threw me. I would have imagined that would have been up here, but anyway, yep. So this here would be running the migration. I know that there's a ton of other things to do, like with the migrations, but I don't want to fall down the rabbit hole of going through every single one of these. I guess I could just run like migration like that, and it should give me this list. So I'm gonna put that in as well, just as a sort of you know, and this is what else you can do, that kind of thing. Otherwise it'll be like, you know, what is the central mission of this course? I mean, going through each one of these is a tutorial in itself, right? So okay, so that's number 3 done. Number 4 is how to create a Symfony console command using the maker bundle. So it's going to be much like that one, but if we ran that, if I can find it on the make, it would be that. So going through this stuff. So this is going to be a relatively short and sweet job, I think. It's just going to be, this is how you create and with all of these commands, of course, you can pass in things, right? So you can do names and other things. You know, you can actually create a name if you wanted to. Okay, so that's number 4. Let's go back up to here and fill that in. I need to fill that in too. That would be #3, and that would be #4. Titles are subject to change, obviously. Okay, how to configure the Symfony console command. So this isn't really, there isn't a command to show for this. It's more of well, I suppose, well, no, there is. There would be. So actually, this should be how to configure and run a Symfony console command. Okay, that's probably how that should look. Because there's no point in just demonstrating how to configure it if I'm not actually going to show you how to run it. So that's bash, and oh, sorry, beg your pardon. It goes like that. There we go. And I guess if we were to look at if we were to create the commands that we were playing with, then, sorry, silly me, bin. I need to change the name of this service, Docker service. It's confusing. It's app. So we'll create a command which is the app CSV creator. That's the first thing we'll do. Which is this one. It's probably I need to change the amount of work that it's doing. I think maybe the first app we'll do is like a Hello World app. Hello World. Because that's relatively straightforward compared to the other ones. So let's quickly bash that through. So I would go to here, and I would make a command, and that command would be called app hello world, and we would go to that command, which is this one. Actually, thinking about it, really, there's not a lot to show in that tutorial, is there? It's just let's run that command, and there you go. That's not really good. How to create a Symfony console command. How to create and configure, or just how to create a Symfony console command, and then because here we've got the wherever it is. Here we can change the descriptions, change the arguments, change the options. So if I was to run like app hello world and then help, we should have all those set, he says. Yeah, here we go. Argument 1, argument description. And then that's that. So I guess that's what I would show, is filling out all of this stuff. So, supplying arguments and options, and then yeah, that would make that a little bit more beefy. Yeah, because then we're handling inputs and outputs as well. So yeah, okay. Let's get rid of tutorial 5. I don't think that's required. Six, 7, and 8, which is tidier because that would be 4 videos a week, which is good. So Monday to Thursday, and then Friday would be the podcast. Yeah, it's probably going to take me quite a long time to build this, I think, but interesting. Hello world is boring. Everybody does the hello world. Let's do hello user instead, right? Hello user. So you pass in, yeah. Let me just get rid of that file for now. Thank you for following, Otea. Is that the right pronunciation? Otea? Thank you for following. I do appreciate it. Thank you. No worries, Dota. Don't worry about that. I'm more than happy to go down rabbit holes and tangents and other things like that. It's fine. It's fine. I'm totally happy to do that. Yeah, so hello user, because then what I can do, you see, is we can create an argument to say, you know, the username, and then we can just say hello the username rather than hello world. It's a bit ridiculous. Right, so that's that. Which is, where are we at now? 4, 5. And what was 5? 5 is handling the Symfony inputs. So yeah, again, that would be and I guess the commands that I would show would be things like help, let's just quickly, how much time have we got? Yeah, okay. Let's just quickly smash this through. So we'll just quickly create this thing. Come on. What? Oh. Okay, so this is app. Hello user. Excuse me. And in hello user, we would have things like say hello to a user. And we would have something like I would give different optional values and stuff. Maybe this would be something along the lines of hey, thank you for following and sorry, making me choke. Sorry. Thank you for joining, Mish Manners. Thank you for raiding. I really appreciate that. Lovely. Sorry, whilst I have a little coughing fit. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I hope your stream went really well. It's lovely to see you again. Gosh, I'm slowly trying to wake up. Just COVID break. Yeah. Definitely. I know exactly what you mean. It's yeah. It's like you can't properly focus on one thing. Yeah. That's brilliant. Thank you very much for the raid. I appreciate it. You've made my day. Thank you. Very kind. What I'm doing today is I'm designing, or planning, I should say, my next course. And it's going to be on PHP, how to create a CSV, how to create and read a CSV into Symfony, into the Symfony console. And we'll be populating a database off of the back of that too. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm kind of going backwards and forwards into the planning of in the README here. These are all the tutorials that I'm kind of going through. I need to plan out system requirements and just sort of headlines on learning outcomes, that kind of stuff at the mo. And then going through the commands and actually sort of like plotting it down myself. as to where it was going. I kind of developed this in the last stream, and we went really gung-ho in the whole batch sizing and array chunks and everything like that, and it got really, really messy and confusing. And so what I'm doing today is taking a step back and actually planning it. Rather than just going straight into the code. It's not always good to do that. Sometimes you have to, well, most of the time you have to plan. Let's be fair. Okay, so first of all, I demonstrate the installation process. So this is using Docker. And then we create the PHP entities using the Symphony maker. And the entity is, we'll just create one, which is the product. And then we create the database schema via the migrations based on the fact that we've got the entity. And then after that, we create the Symphony console command, and then we handle Symphony console inputs. That's where we're at the moment. So down here, I'm going to run this, show the help, the usage of this, which would be, that's the make bundle. It is app. Hello user. Now we've changed the name of that. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like it's at 8 in the morning at the moment. I don't know whether I need drum and bass just to wake me up, or if I need this subtle, smooth music. It's kind of keeping me on balance here, half and half. Half of my brain is asleep, and half of my brain is awake. Okay, so with the arguments, I would have things like name, say like your name, and maybe the option I would have, say nickname, your. Something like that, maybe. Argument description is, say, your name. And so this would say hello, blah, 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 blah. And then if you provide a nickname, it would override the fact that you've got an argument in here, and it would say hello and then the nickname. So we can put in a shortcut here, and we can do sort of nick, like that. This is going to be required. Your name, your nickname. And basically this is kind of like just easing you into the fact that, you know, you've got the arguments and the options and stuff like that, you know. It's just, I'll fill all this out when I get to it. So I don't want to go straight into the code today, because I did that last time when we got into a bit of a mess. So it's more to do with the planning side of stuff. So I've just spat all over my screen. So that's how we would run that, and then you would also, let's run the help once more, because I need to get the actual things. So now we would have your name here, and then you would have the nickname, which is the option. So you would create this using like name, right? And then you would also run it again, and you would also provide name, but you would also do nick is equal to nickname. Provide the name. Okay, so that kind of a demonstration of those things, and then we've got the console outputs, which is like, you know, displaying those things. And with this, I would display things like errors, like how to style up this, writing different lines, that kind of stuff. So I guess with the commands, what I would do is I would just run it. I would just run it, which kind of is the same. Let's just grab that mo. We also need to go and add the videos to these things as well. That's what we need to do. I'm just kind of using these as placeholders really for myself. So let's just grab that, add video to add video, because what I would do in the README, I would provide links to the actual tutorial videos for each one as well. Yeah, I guess I could just copy that. It's going to be exactly the same really, isn't it? But I kind of want this to be, oh, I went to this tutorial and this is the command that was run, that kind of thing. All right, so number 7, now we get into the real weeds of the stuff, right? So creating CSVs and importing CSVs. So here we would basically start we would create our hello user, and then we would go, right, we're going to create the CSV import script, and then we're going to create a CSV export script. Although let's think about this for a minute, because that's not the way it goes. We want to create a script that generates a CSV file, and then we want to create a script that reads that CSV file into the database. That's the whole point. So how to create a CSV file, and then how to import data from that CSV file. So we need to have CSV import and CSV create. These are the two things, which means that we're going to get rid of these. Off you pop. So the CSV creator script that we created last time, let's spin that down to 1,000. This is the SKUs. We're using the CSV, where are we called? The league stuff. We're also using Faker. Now, should I bother with that? Because the thing is, again, there's going to be a lot of things to teach here. I want to try and narrow it down as best as I possibly can do. Maybe we can limit that out. What's the Faker actually doing? If I can remove that, I will. The Faker here is randomly generating a price. What are we doing on the import? We're not doing anything with Faker on the import. No, of course we won't. That's fine. Wrong file. Wrong file. Here we go. No worries. You enjoy your dinner, Mishmanners. Good morning, Decky99. I hope everybody's doing well. Whereabouts are you in the world? I'm from the UK, and so it is the morning. I want to see if I can get rid of this. It's just another thing to go, oh, by the way, this is the Faker. You know, I don't want to do a whole tutorial on the Faker. So I reckon we can set this to something like, let's say, I guess we could hard code it, right? I guess we could go 25, 50, right, for each one. It's not brilliant, it's not great, but it removes the need for the Faker, which is here. Okay, I definitely need to show the CSV writer. However, should I show more than just this? Because this is like just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the CSV package. Let's get rid of the. Let's just get rid of that for now, and then run the script. And I'll have a think. So this would be app. What did I call this thing? I called it app CSV creator. CSV creator. So that should create the CSV. And I guess also what I could do is have this as an option. Yeah, that's a good idea. Have that as an option. So that would have created our CSV of 1,000 things, or with 25.5. Yeah, I think that's what we can do, right? So with here, I can provide some inputs and outputs. Do I have that on the import? I've got the fact of building a file. I could do that too. Ooh, I could do that as well. Yeah. Let's copy that, put that into here. Yep. And get rid of that. Okay, so that's the file. And the file, we're going to create a private const. And in here, we're going to say file base. And we're going to equal that to, where does this live? App, var, and we're going to have private const file default file name is equal to products.csv. There we go. Right, so this becomes an option. It's required, but it has default. So this is the default file name, which would be that. However, I need to merge the two. So let's do, yeah. Okay, yeah. I think because this is getting too big, let's split this out into separate lines. So this would be self file base yeah, that would be it, wouldn't it? That would be it. Right, so that would be the default. So it is required, but we've got a default, the CSV file to import. Okay, we can also create another option as well for the whoops, what have I done? Oh, it's all going Pete Tong. What a weird expression that is. Right, so we're also going to have batch size. Is it batch size? Shall I call that batch size, or let's call it limit? No, because limit means that you can go from below the limit. Let's do total records. There we go, total records. So the name is total records. Shortcut is T. The number of, actually not total, this should just be record count, record number of records. Naming things in code is difficult. So this would be N-O-R, number of records. Right, okay. Yeah, and the default would of here, we can put this as a const up here too. And so we would have default number of records, and we would give that 1,000. I think that's good. I think for now that's all right. Take care, Tyranid. Thank you very much for coming on today. Have a good day at work. I'm gonna for others on here. I'm gonna wrap the stream up in about 10 minutes because I do have I'm a freelancer, so I need to crack on with the rest of the day. So these things only go on till about 8:30 in the morning. And I think we've done fairly well today. I've managed to rein myself back in from all the craziness that I was doing beforehand. Okay, so creating a CSV file. is this script. We're going to provide all of this stuff. So I guess that becomes the file. So let's do file name is equal to not this IO. Not IO. What am I talking? What am I doing? Input. Get. It was an option, wasn't it? Get option. And the option is the name that we supply, which is name of. No, that's wrong. It is file. There we go. And we also have max, and that is the option as well. So input get option, and this is number of records. There we are. Now, obviously, we need to make sure whether that this is writable and everything. So I'll put those checks in too. Well, actually, thinking about this, I could force the base path of this by just splitting that out, and then doing so. It's always going to be in here by saying file name is that. Yeah. Max is then that. So I should technically be able to do this. So if I ran help on this just to see what we've got. So we've got the file name here, that's the default. So let's do -f for file. And that would be test.csv. Oh, CSV. And then the next one is a number of arguments, so NOR. So NOR, and we would pass in something like, I don't know, 10, right? Oh, sorry, I need to do. Yeah, it's an alias. I can't do multiple. Yeah, I need that to just be n. N already exists, does it? What is it? What is that? Oh, no interaction. Oh, God. Okay, let's change that to be R or C. Is C available? Yeah, C is available. All right, C. Okay, so that should have gone and created something in here, should it not? No, where did that go? Option N already exists. Hang on. C is 10. Done. Okay, there we go. I don't know why it didn't work that time. Okay, let's open that up. So this is now our 10 things here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's because of the indexing. So let's change that up. Otherwise, that's not gonna compute. So that's C that comes in. Number of arguments is max, so we start on 0, that's why. And then we increment is less than max. Let's change that to 1. Right, let's run this again and call this test2. And we should have another one in here with 11. That's good because we've got the header up here. So yeah. Okay, so that covers that off, right? That's that script sorted. Right, I guess I need to put links to these things, right? Well, that would help. So this one here is number 5, handling inputs. So we can do #5, handling Symfony console inputs, and then this would be #6, handling Symfony console outputs. This would be #7. Hasn't been created yet. Okay, right, let's do that. So that into there. Now the commands that I'm using here are the ones that we can. Whoops. Are the ones that I've just demonstrated. So it's this one. And on the actual application, I'll do products like this. And then I guess we should also do another one, which is help. So it would be that, and then help. Cool. All right. So that's how to create a CSV file using the script. So that would be a whole tutorial going through all of this. And then the next one would be how to import this into our database. So we kind of did this last time. Obviously, I would pass in the file. Again, let me tidy that up a minute. I'm just keeping a beady eye on the time. Yes, it's time for my breakfast. Time for my breakfast. So validation routine in here, grabbing this stuff. Can I still do this? I just want to insert. Yeah, we shouldn't be doing this. We're going on the not the assumption, but we're going on the fact that it's a new product. Yeah, we shouldn't be doing that. I mean, or should we? No. The problem though is that the SKU is unique. So if you were to build the CSV, import it, and then build it again, and then import that same one, or another one that had the same SKUs, it's going to throw an error. So I guess I would need to I'll handle this. I can't do this in 20 seconds of the stream. I will look at that later. So I think we did quite well today. I mean, I've reined it back in again, which is always good. I'm going to I'll finish off by just passing in number 8, and that's something yet to do. So I'll do to do create command, or finish command, to do finish command. All right. And then we'll link that up to the top here. I think and by a happy accident, we've managed to get 8 tutorials, and a tutorial a day on YouTube. So that's Monday to Thursday, and then obviously Friday we have the podcast. So that kind of works quite well in terms of the. Although saying that, we've got the introduction, so technically it's 9. I can't really slim these down, so it would have to roll over to the 3rd week perhaps. Anyway, let's just put these in. So 7, and then this one would be 8. Right. Well, thank you ever so much for joining, and thanks once again to Mish Manners for raiding today. I really appreciate that. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Enjoy the day, and take care. Be good to each other. All right, I'm off. Bye-bye. Happy coding. I should say that at the end of every stream. Happy coding. Cheers. Bye-bye.